Hi there. Now I can hear you all thinking, what's he doing? Why is he in the football markets? Um, Given that I'm not a particularly good football trader. I thought I'd carry on looking at the over 2.5 goals idea with the automated liability reduction. And of course, if you saw my previous video from this week, I expanded that so that if there was an early goal in the first 10 minutes, the whole thing moved to the over 3.5 goals market. But what I'm actually going to do, instead of what my usual testing procedure is, whereas I generally pick matches with a reasonable amount of money on them, and that's the only selection process I have, I'm going to try and actually identify matches that might be suitable for this particular strategy. So I'm looking for matches where there is a home favourite, and then we'll check the over 2.5 goals market, see what the market thinks in that particular case, and see if there's a consensus that there's going to be some goals. So the Man United Sevilla match is obviously a pick. The over 2.5 goals is clearly odds on, so that match is one to go for. Leverkusen, much the same thing, odds on favourite. Over 2.5 goals again is odds on, so that's one to go for. So that's Man United and Leverkusen. Juventus is also a home favourite. Over 2.5 goals is actually above 2. So we'll ignore this match. The market doesn't feel that there's going to be over 2 goals. So we're going to go with the Manchester United game and the one at Leverkusen as well. So if we just pick up the market selector, we want to add in, switch that a little bit, Manchester United, where are you? There we go, and Leverkusen. So we have to add those to my markets, add them to the watch list, and we can get rid of that. Okay, another thing we want to do is to add these two, or add the strategy to these two, which is this one here. So we can close that out of the way. Now these matches don't kick off for another hour and a quarter. So I'll come back when it's nearer the event and see how we're getting on. Cheers. Okay, you can see we're off and running now at Manchester. And the Leverkusen game has just kicked off as well. So it's just a case of sitting and waiting for the goal to come in. A goal has been scored. Looks like Manchester United have just scored after not very many minutes. So what will happen now is that, because that's an early goal, obviously within the first 10 minutes, these two rules now will no longer apply. Okay, this bet here will not get submitted in 11 minutes because the number of goals is not equal to 0. This one, however, will. It will kick in because assuming there's no further goals in that first 10 minutes. So we'll be jumping to the over 3.5 goals market. Now if we pull out the market watch list, obviously there's no strategy involved or assigned to the over 3.5 goals market. Interestingly, the score there is still saying 0-0, although there's obviously a goal scored. But the odds haven't come down significantly. I wonder if that goal's going to get chalked off. Yeah, scoreline still saying 0-0. Right, so we'll just have to wait and see. As I was saying, The strategy itself is assigned to the over 2.5 goals market, and it's using the linked markets feature within FairBet automation to send bets, or will ultimately send bets into the over 3.5 goals market. Okay, we'll skip ahead once something else happens. It's 5 minutes into the game, and according to Flash Scores, the Manchester United match is still 0-0. But of course, this has triggered. So this is going to be interesting after 10 minutes to see what happens. This is a situation that I didn't expect. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens here. Because that's been executed once, this is going to start firing bets in to the market. However, it should check to see if there's been a goal scored. And if this gets chalked off before the 10 minutes is up, in other words, before this is due to fire in, this shouldn't work. Certainly, Flash Scores is still saying after 6 minutes it's 0-0. That's interesting. Okay, I'll skip ahead to 10 minutes to see what's going to happen. Okay, I've just checked the commentary within Flash Scores, and it appears that the goal has been ruled out for offside, and that, as you can see, is just been removed from the scoreboard there. So I suspect this shouldn't fire now, even though that's set to 1, because there won't be a goal, this won't go in. So that's why, another reason why it's worthwhile having these double checks. Because this drip feed mechanism doesn't rely on this rule here, checking if there's a goal being scored in the first 10 minutes. This one should, assuming there's no goals, of course, this one should still trigger, as is normal. Now, if there is a goal before the 10 minutes is up, this will still be true, which will mean that this will fire. So the way that it's worked out is actually okay, believe it or not. Interesting. I may have to have another think about that to make sure that that doesn't get caught again. But that's something we need to look at. For the purposes of this exercise, however, of course, all I'm doing is trying to test these. I really want an early goal to make sure that this thing is firing okay, although I don't see any reason why it wouldn't be. Okay, I'll come back later on. Okay, we're now into the 11 plus minutes part, and our drip feed for the bets into the over 2.5 goals market is working now on both matches, as you can see in the market watch list. So these will loop round, and every 2 minutes it'll put in a £5 bet. Now, one thing I should flag up to you that I briefly mentioned in the previous video, I've changed the interval between the lay bets being submitted once a goal is scored. It was set at 5 seconds. I've decided to increase that to 15, and we'll see how that goes. So yes, we just need to wait till our back bets are drip fed into the market and wait for a goal to happen, and then the lay bets will be triggered and fed into the market as well. So I'll come back later on in the match to see how we're getting on. Okay, a goal has been scored in Manchester against Sevilla, and you'll notice that the bets into the 3.5 market have indeed started. The goal was scored about 12 minutes, thereabouts, and because this thing fires 11 minutes after, it automatically registered the goal being scored, and now it's started to drip feed. So yes, I need to do some additional modifications to the strategy to cover for that situation that we had earlier on that causes this to fire. Probably the easiest way to do that is, given that this runs for 10 minutes, is to actually get it to loop through twice. And that may let it check to see if there's a goal, so it'll fire when there's a goal, and then it'll perhaps wait another 2 minutes, let's say, or 3 minutes, and loops round again. And if the goal is being chopped off at that time, it can reset. So you would then actually have these things here actually checking to see if it's equal to 1 or 2. That's probably the easiest way to do it, thinking out loud. So you'll see that the lay process on the 2.5 goals market, that's carried out. We only had 2 bets in the market there. So we've got a free bet of £6.50 on the over 2.5 goals in the Manchester United game. We've also got, of course, if I switch to the over 3.5, we've got this thing busy looping through, putting in bets in there, and it will essentially do the same thing, but we're going to need another goal for the lay process to kick in. Nothing much else happening in the Leverkusen match other than the back bets are carrying on being fed in. Now, given that there was only 2 bets in the Manchester United match, there might be an argument to suggest that the first bet that we put in, rather than doing £5, put in a £25 bet to give us some money in the market, and then start incrementing that in £5 steps. Well, that's something else that might need looking at and tweaking as far as the strategy is concerned. Okay, we'll sit and wait for something else to happen again. Cheers. Okay, a second goal has been scored at Manchester, so we're looking good on the over 2.5s. The unsuspend countdown timer is busy running in the 3.5 goals market, and we've got a total of 4 bets placed in there. So this should now kick in. Once this reaches 2 minutes, we should get lays coming in here to remove that liability on the over 3.5 goals market. So as far as the general idea behind the strategy is concerned, that seems to be working fine. Obviously, there's issues with regard to an early goal getting chopped off that I'll need to think about and how to handle that correctly. It would help if Betfair weren't so trigger happy on the suspend button. As I've said many times, it's one of the reasons I don't like trading football, is the way Betfair are rather over eager with the suspend button. If they're going to suspend it, fine, yes, suspend it. But, it shouldn't be unsuspended willy-nilly. Make sure the other team's kicking off after the goal, that type of thing would help. Or wait to make sure that there isn't a VAR decision, or whatever that VAR decision outcome is, before they get too excited. Okay, so we're in the process of getting rid of our liability in the over 3.5 goals market. Switch to my bets. You can see they're all gone now, so we've got no liability there. A free bet on the over 3.5 goals on Manchester United. We've got a free bet in the over 2.5 goals. And I think, yes, as I mentioned earlier, I think that may be an idea. The first bet should be a £25 bet, and then the rest we can drip feed at £5 intervals. I would need the creation of another rule to do that, to place the initial bet. But that may be better, because then we'll have some more money right at the off, within 12 minutes or so of the start of the match kicking off. So the match at Manchester is fine. It's the one at Leverkusen that is not doing very much. So we've got £35 in the market at the moment, halfway through the first half. So once again, I'll come back when something exciting happens. Okay, that's half-time at Leverkusen, and as you can see, it's still 0-0. One thing to note is that we've only got £90 into the market, I should say. So there's another £10 to go in. That should still be going in once every 2 minutes. There's nothing to stop it. It's still active and it's still in play, obviously. If you didn't want bets to go in during the half-time period, you would need to configure some conditions. The interesting thing is there isn't a condition, so there's one of the £5 bets going in at the moment. There isn't a condition that specifically allows you to check for half-time. If I open up the strategy editor here, and have a quick look at the conditions. Sorry, I'm on 2 monitors at the moment, so I have to drag things around. So there isn't a football option that allows you to check for half-time. This one here, Market Football Second Half-Time, that allows you to check how many minutes have gone since the start of the second half. But there isn't a specific condition that allows you to check that it's currently half-time. So the way to really do that, if you wanted to halt bet placement during the half-time period, it would be twofold. You would use the market second half time option and set that to 1 minute or so. So that just tells you that the second half has started. But you may also want to specify another one where you would check the status of another market. And what you would do is check to see if the market state is closed, but you would choose one of the first half. So first half goals, first half over-unders, first half match odds, anything that's the first half. Oh, there's a market state. Right, so it's half time. I tell a lie. That's the first of me coming across that. You can check for half time. Is that a separate market? Is that? No, I tell a lie. Yeah, that's what it is. You're checking to see if that market. Sorry, I'm getting confused. Check to see that the half-time market is actually closed. And that will allow you to essentially stop bet submission during the half-time period. Anyway, let me just cancel out of that. So we really need to have a relatively early goal in the second half of this match to stand a chance of getting ourselves into profit. You can see at this stage we can green up or red up and spread a £35 loss across the market here and take the hit. It may be worthwhile letting it run for 10 minutes. As you can see, I still haven't put in any conditions that would get out if things aren't going the right way for us. But what I would tend to suggest is that you might want to bail out if there's a guaranteed loss of £50, assuming that you're using £100 maximum stake. So probably we really need a goal in the first 10 minutes or so of the second half, I would think. So I'll jump ahead for that and come back to you then. Okay, we've got a goal at Leverkusen. You see the countdown timer is approaching 2 min, so the lay bets will start going in fairly soon. We can actually green up for a nice profit, and that's the benefit of drip feeding all those little bets in. If we switch back to the My Bets market, if I remove the average odds, you can see where the odds were when we first started the match, just over evens, and they quickly climbed as long as there was no goals, and the last one we got was at 5.3. So we've actually got really good value, and that's the purpose of drip feeding these bets in. Of course, you're still reliant on a relatively early goal as soon as your £100 is fully in. So that's our lays starting to go in now. And so you'll find every 15 seconds, I changed that to. So every 15 seconds, this will drop by £5. Hopefully before that process is completed, we'll actually get a quick second goal, and consequently the odds will drop that much further, and we'll get better value for our lays. So as I say, every 15 seconds we'll get this reducing. So I'll just carry on recording this. I'll just run through exactly what's happening. So there's this issue with regard to a very early goal, as we saw in the Man United match, that got chopped off, but it causes that to be executed once. So ideally we wouldn't have wanted any involvement in the over 3.5 market. So that's something I need to look at to find out the best way of mitigating against that. It's not something I considered, to be perfectly honest. The other thing to be aware of, if you don't want bets to go in at half time, as I said, you need to use a condition that will check the status of any of the first half markets. The most obvious one is the halftime market. Just check to see if that's closed, and if it is closed, it means that the halftime whistle is gone, and so you could effectively use that to suspend any bet placement during the halftime period. It's a little bit annoying because it means that you actually have to link to another market. In other words, that market has to be opened up within the market watch list. So you've got an additional market being monitored that isn't, strictly speaking, necessary. It would be nice if there was actually a dedicated condition that checked if it was half time or not. Okay, so we're still chugging away here, down to £65 liability. What will happen, of course, is that once that liability is gone, we will have a free bet on the over 2.5 goals. You can, as I say, manually trade out at any time. So what will happen is, I mean, obviously, once this is gone, I'll finish the video there. But you could choose to let this match run or trade out. The important thing is actually reducing your liability. The thing is, it's going in our favour now, because if we did get a second goal, these odds here on the over 2.5 goals market will plummet still further, and we'll get better value for our lays. But we'll probably end up with something like, once that's gone, the opportunity to trade it for something like £25. So you'll see there being nibbled away at. Now you'll see, because of the odds on the over 2.5 goals are increasing, not all of that bet was taken. So we've got a tiny amount that's not being laid off. So we'll have an imbalance on the under 2.5 goals. So what you'll find is we'll get an additional lay put in, which will actually give us a small profit on the under 2.5 goals market. The way to mitigate that would be to change, if I move this over a bit, would be to change this thing here and ask for slightly higher odds as your lay, simply to make sure it gets taken. But that's actually interesting that's happened, because you'll actually see it, because rather than stopping at 20 out of 40, it will go on and it will do another extra lay. So that'll be interesting to see. So we'll end up with a slightly less than £5 profit on the under 2.5 goals. So not many iterations to go until that's completely cleared. I didn't get a chance to see what the potential green up all option was just before the goal was scored. I was actually out of the room at the time. As I mentioned earlier, you might want to consider having a green up rule that will green up if the position reaches a £50 loss, for example, i.e. 50% off whatever total stake you're using. It's up to you. Okay, so there's going to be 2 iterations to go through, and then we'll be left with a 24p loss on the under 2.5 goals. And because of that condition there, that will force another lay going in. And we've still got that sitting there. Now what will happen is, if there is another goal and the odds drop past 2.6, this remaining 24p would also get taken. Right, so we should find another lay going in shortly. There we go. So rather than 20 lays, we've had 21. So we'll end up with a tiny profit, £4.76 on the under 2.5 goals, with effectively a free bet of £61 on the over 2.5 goals. And you can see we could obviously green up if we wanted to. So as I was saying, if there is another goal fairly shortly, these odds are likely to drop below 2.6. So that 24 pence will be taken, and so we'll end up with £5 sitting on the under 2.5 goals. In the other matches, nothing much has happened. There's still only 2 goals at Manchester United. So we're still looking at the way things are going as probably a scratch trade on that one. We need another goal to happen in there, and we would need another 2 goals in this market as well, if we wanted to win our free bet. So that was an interesting exercise. It did, as I say, threw up a little bit of a wobbly with that early goal at Manchester, which was then chalked off. That's something that one would need to consider how to manage that on the rare occasions that it actually happens. It may also be something that you need to consider in the normal operation. It wasn't there. It wasn't the fact it was an early goal that was the issue. It was the fact that it was chalked off, which caused things to trigger. Of course, with the over 2.5 market, we don't have a check here to see if there's been an early goal, because there's no need to do that. Okay, guys, I think I shall wrap up the video there. Hopefully that's been of interest to you. There's nothing to stop you, of course, linking to other markets. I mean, the obvious one was to link to the over 3.5 market. There's nothing to stop you doing other things as well, based on what's happening early on in the game. But I'll leave that for you to decide. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one, guys. Thank you very much. Bye.